Hello and welcome to Delicious Simplicity. I'm Anna Tourkakis, and on the menu today we have an aromatic lemon garlic chicken pieces, a quick casserole with spinach, and for dessert we have a mixed spiced fruit. And let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with the chicken. Now you want to use a whole chicken or chicken pieces. I'm using chicken that I've cut up myself. I bought a whole chicken because I find that those are so much more economical sometimes. So here I have the chicken pieces. And I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of oil in here. This is such a simple recipe with such basic ingredients. It's essentially just some oil, garlic, some brandy, sage, and some lemon slices. I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. And something different that we're going to do with this recipe today also is the garlic. We're not going to peel it at all. We're just going to put it in unpeeled. So here I have the oil heating up. I'm going to put in 2 cloves of garlic unpeeled, just like that. And I'm also going to put in about 4 leaves of sage, or a little bunch. These are small leaves, so I'm going to put more than 4. Just going to break this up and put it in here. So while this is cooking, I'm going to salt my chicken. Now, what's interesting about this recipe also is that you can use a whole chicken, as I mentioned earlier, and cut it up in pieces. You can do it yourself, which is what I've done here. So I have some lovely pieces here. Or you can buy more economical pieces, such as thighs and drumsticks, and use those. And when you're cooking meats, it's really a good idea to salt when the meat is, uncooked early on. The sooner you salt it, or the longer the salt stays with the meat, or the chicken in this case, the more it will flavor the food, and then you may need less salt later on when you're eating it, because that way the whole piece of meat or chicken is flavored as opposed to just on top. I'm going to put my chicken in. This looks like it's sizzling away here. You can leave the skin on or take the skin off if you want. I'm leaving it on for today. Sometimes I take it off. I'm going to put that in. You can hear it sizzle. Put this last piece in here. I'm going to turn these over, see if they're browned. You just want to brown them. That browning really gives the meat flavor. Must be difficult. There we go. Sage is an herb that goes really well with poultry, or any white meat. It goes great with pork too. But chicken and sage is very nice combination. And while this is cooking here, I'm going to measure out the secret ingredient in this recipe is the brandy. So I'm going to pour in half a cup of brandy. I'll let that evaporate for a little bit. It really flavors the chicken. Let that cook for a little bit. So I'm going to put in the brandy, and I'm taking out the garlic, because that's just in there for a little bit. Remember, we didn't even peel it. We just put it right in. And while that cooks a little bit and the brandy evaporates, I'm going to slice the lemon into about 8 pieces, 8 slices. I'm going to take these ends off. Let's see, did I get 8 pieces? 2, 4, 6, 8, I did. The other thing I like to do is take out the seeds, because once the lemon cooks, it just kind of falls apart. So you don't want to be finding seeds in your dish. You don't want somebody biting into a seed, because they're really bitter. It's interesting, a lot of the seeds are in the center. At the end, you don't find too many. And so this has been cooking a little bit now here. I'm just going to give them a quick sort of stir just to make sure that they're not sticking to the bottom. Oh, it smells nice. Okay, so now I'm going to put a slice of lemon on each piece, or as many as I can get on here. I'll do that. There we go. This is done, so I'm going to put a lid on it and let it cook for about 30 minutes. There we go. All right, next what we're going to do is the quick casserole bake. And back here I have the water boiling, so I'm going to wait till that's almost boiling. As soon as it comes to a boil, I'll cook that. In the meantime, I'm going to cook the spinach, and I cook it right in the microwave. I just get regular chopped spinach at the supermarket in the freezer, and you could use fresh spinach if you wanted to. I just like the frozen because you have them in your freezer, and when you want to make this, it's so quick that you always have them on hand. And they're easy. You don't have to wash them or anything. Stick it in there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to cook this for about 5 minutes. So that's going. So I'm going to chop an onion. You want a small onion. This is a sweet onion. I use onions interchangeably, except for the red onions. I use those basically for salads. But in cooking, I use them interchangeably. This is what's called a sweet onion, so hopefully it won't make me cry when I cut it. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of oil in this pan and heat it up. About a tablespoon. So I continue to chop my onion here. This is sort of an Italian macaroni and cheese, and it uses mozzarella instead of cheddar cheese, and milk and Parmesan cheese, and also an egg in it. So it's sort of a lighter version of macaroni and cheese. So I think that if you wanted to substitute cheddar cheese instead of the mozzarella, it will probably work as well. This is much lower in fat than the typical macaroni and cheese. Mozzarella is a little leaner, a little less fat. Okay, so this is done here. This is chopped. The oil should be heating up. There it is. Ah, I hear the water boiling. So I'm going to do about 3/4 of a pound of this. I'm going to leave some out. That's about 3/4, and I'm also going to add some salt. I usually measure a tablespoon by the palm of my hand when I'm adding salt to pasta water. That's about a tablespoon. You want to make sure that you stir it so that it doesn't stick. There's many different things that people do to keep the pasta from sticking, and one is that they add salt to it, or they add some oil to it to keep it from sticking. In reality, I think from what I've seen is actually the amount of water that you use in it. So you really want to have lots and lots of water when you're cooking spaghetti, because that's the thing that keeps it from sticking, and you want to keep the water constantly boiling. Those are the two things that really work. Our spinach is done. I'm going to let these cool for a little bit. While I cook my onions in here. Oh, there we go. Good. Oil's nice and hot. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it is or isn't hot enough. Oh, these smell good. They didn't make me cry, so I guess these are sweet onions. To the spinach, now that it's cooled off a little bit, I want to take up some of the water. I'm going to put these in this plate. Yeah, they're not that hot. I can actually handle them. You want to use chopped spinach. I unfortunately picked up the wrong ones. These were like whole leaves, which are good, but from this recipe now I have to cut them a little bit, which is okay. It's not the biggest, just a rough chop. There we go. So I'm going to add these to the onion bake here. The onion's cooking. And I'm also going to add a couple of tablespoons of vegetable broth. And I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of the vegetable broth. So it's about 1 and this 2. Give this a quick stir. Let it cook for a little bit longer. And at this point, I'm going to add a little salt as well to this. Yeah, about a teaspoon. Maybe a little less. And in the meantime, I'm going to measure my milk. Here I need about a cup of milk. And 1 egg gets beaten into it. So what I'm going to do first is do the egg first. I'm going to slightly beat the egg. Making a lot of noise there. I'm going to add my milk. I'm going to add some nutmeg to it. Nutmeg is used a lot in Italian cooking when they have milk in the dish, with any kind of white sauces too. And nutmeg, you'll find them they come like nuts like these, or they come grounded already. And there's really a big difference in flavor. The fresh one is certainly the better flavored one. If you have the ground one, you can use that too, but this is definitely the better one to use. So I'm just going to grate about 1/4 teaspoon right in here with the milk. And this spice is used very minimally because it's so strong. I can smell it now as I'm grating it like this, but it really makes a difference. It's not, in the cooking, in the food itself, you don't taste it, but it just gives it just a little kick. That's like a peppery smell to it. There we go. And one of these microplanes are great for this. It's neat how it goes back in the sleeve. And I'm also going to add to this mixture is about 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Mix it all together. And put it aside for a minute. This is done here. I'm going to put this. I'm going to take this off, and I want this to cool a little bit because in a few minutes I'm going to add the milk to this, and I don't want the eggs to cook. I'm going to spread it out. so that it's got more surface area and it can cool off. In the meantime, I think my pasta should be done by now. And it is. So I'm going to take the pasta out, and you might want to cook it a little bit less than it says on the package, only because this is going to cook again in the oven. Okay, make sure that drains really good. In the meantime, I'm going to finish grating the mozzarella here that I already started a little while back. Remove this so you can see what I'm doing. And I need about 1.5 cups, and 1.5 cups of mozzarella or any kind of shredded cheese. You probably need about 6 ounces of the solid piece. So that's what I had here, about 6 ounces. I'm going to finish doing this, and if you keep it nice and cold, it shreds really easy. Sometimes you can put it in the freezer too for a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, because you don't want it to freeze. You just want it to firm up. And this happens really quick. Now, of course, you could always buy it already shredded. That's one other option too. But I find this is so quick. You know, anytime you buy food that's somewhat prepared, it's a step or two have been done. For example, if the cheese has been shredded, and you're going to pay for that. It's going to cost you a little more. And also, the less sort of processed the food is, I like it, you know, the better it is. Sometimes when things are shredded like that, they have to put some kind of, maybe a preservative to keep it fresher, that it doesn't dry out. Yeah, these, at the very end, they always come out, when you're doing it by hand, you get these big lumps, but that's okay. So this is done. And this is cool enough, so now I can add the mixture here. This is the milk here with the nutmeg and the egg and the Parmesan cheese. There we go. I'm going to mix that together. And I'm going to add a little bit more salt to this because I didn't add any to the milk. Just a touch, maybe about half a teaspoon. I think that would do it. So now I'm going to, you can add the spinach mixture to the pasta mixture, or to the pasta, or you could do it vice versa. So I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to add the pasta to the mixture. Ooh, that looks good already. Oh, and as far as the pasta shapes, I like the shells just because they're different. You know, but you can use other types. You can use elbows, the regular size elbows, or the larger elbows, the casserole size elbows, or you can use rotini, any kind. But I kind of like the shells because they're different. And I don't make them in any other way, so this is a fun way to use them. That's one thing about pasta. There's so many different shapes. And my son's funny. He's always saying, well, you know, I don't get it, he says to me, that there's different kinds of pasta. It's all the same. And the funny thing is that I used to think the same way. It's like, well, it's pasta. What difference does it make if it's, you know, spaghetti or rotini or butterflies or whatever? But I have learned that it does make a big difference. Let me get a dish here. It does make it makes a difference in the kind of sauce that you use. So the pasta may taste and be made the same, but the particular cut, it gives it a certain thickness and texture. So depending on the kind of sauce that you want to use, you really need to pair the pasta cut to the sauce. Okay, so now I'm also going to add about, oh, look at that, about 1 cup of the mozzarella right in with the pasta. So this is the sort of macaroni and cheese piece. Put that in there, mix it in. So when you're cooking your onion and your spinach, you want to make sure that you use a big enough pan so you can mix everything together. We're going to put this in the baking dish here, and then we're going to bake it for about 10-15 minutes. So this casserole dish here practically makes a complete meal because you've got your vegetables, you got your protein, you got your carbohydrates, you have everything. And one thing I need to do here, because I almost forgot to do, is chop up some walnuts. I can do it right in the plate here, but you can't see unless I move this. I'm going to chop these right in the plate because the walnuts are really easy to chop up. They're nice and soft. And walnuts are great because they're a great source. They're a plant source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are very good fats for us in that we don't tend to eat too many of those kind of fats. We eat plenty of fat, but not so much of the good fat, such as the one that's found in most nuts. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to add the rest of the Parmesan cheese here. Oops. Sprinkle that over. Ooh, do it this way. There we go. I'm going to spread some more of my mozzarella on here. It's probably a little more than half a cup here, so I may not use the whole thing. We'll see. There we go. I think that's about enough. Okay. Then I'm going to sprinkle with the walnuts. And the walnuts really give it a nice texture when you bite into it. So then we're going to put these in the oven for about 10-15 minutes that's been preheated to 400 degrees. Yeah, 450 would be way too high. So it's 400 degrees for about 15 minutes or 10. We'll check it at 10 and see what happens. Okay, the next thing on our list is the fruit salad. This is a super fruit salad. Well, I'm calling it fruit salad. It really isn't. It's a dessert, and it's got some interesting ingredients that you'll never look at a salad again in the same way again. It's one of those really unique fruit salads that will make you want to have fruit for dessert. I know some people think, oh, fruit, that's not dessert, but this will be. In the winter, this is a great fruit salad to make because it's got apples that I'm peeling now, and then an orange, and pineapple. You know, pineapple are really in season around February, March. That's when they come in. So those are great times when you find really beautiful pineapples. The real star of this fruit salad is the pineapple. And what I'm going to do is bring these knives over because I'm not sure which one will do the best job. I know there's all kinds of different ways that you can cut a pineapple, and I don't know if my way is sort of a better way or not. I don't know, but this is how I do it. I take this off. Then I take a really big knife that I can't find in here right now. There we go, this might do it. And then what I do is I cut it in half. And you can cut it lengthwise. I like to cut it crosswise because the lengthwise it's just too long. So I cut it this way. Then I cut a piece off the bottom here. And then just go around and now I come back in and cut out some of the bigger pieces. Some of the, little brown pieces. That was a big piece I got left behind, but like these little brown things on the side. And then I come back in, and if you can see, this is where the core is, so I'm going to cut around it. Do the same thing to the other one. Just come in and cut around it. There we go, and then I just slice it. And again, you want to try to have pieces that are all pretty much the same. You know, I went to Hawaii for my honeymoon when my husband and I got married. So there we were, looking all over Hawaii for pineapple trees. And we're looking and looking with these trees, for the pineapple trees, only to realize that they don't grow on trees. They sort of grow like, almost like corn, but they're like little bushes. So they're only about, oh, I don't know, I'd say 2 feet off the ground. And there's fields and fields of them. And finally we figured it out. We put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh, there they are. They're not on trees. All right, so in here now we're going to add a cinnamon stick, about 3 tablespoons of sugar, right there. There's 2 tablespoons of raisins and anise seeds. So I'm just going to put it all in together. Toss it. And now for that secret ingredient that I said earlier makes it the adult fruit salad, is that I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of rum. Now I'm using the real stuff, but if you wanted to, you could use rum extract. Just dilute it with a little bit of water. You might want to use about 1 teaspoon because the extract is really strong. So about 1 teaspoon of extract and a couple of tablespoons of water. And you might want to add a little sugar to that too, about 1 teaspoon. And that makes 4. Mix it all up, and you want to let it sit for about ½ an hour before you serve it. Now back here in the chicken, this should be just about done. Oh, smells fabulous. Turn it over. Oh, and this side looks great. Look at that. Perfect. All right, so we'll let it cook a little bit longer so the other side will get nice and brown. And let's see how the pasta bake is doing, or the pasta casserole. Oh, perfect. Oh, and it smells fabulous. And here today we have the quick pasta casserole with spinach, and we have the aromatic lemon garlic chicken pieces, and a beautiful spiced mixed fruit salad. I hope you get a chance to try them. In the recipes are in the Delicious Simplicity cookbook, available in several places in the neighborhood. And I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.